What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Doc Sports YouTube channel. My name is Sean Barnard, and I'm back here with you with some survival pool picks for NFL. Coming off another crazy week of NFL, a week where the favorites bounced back a little bit. Looking back on week three where the underdogs went 6-10 or 10-6 overall and 10-5-1 against the spread, versus this week in week four, favorites coming off a 10-6 performance, but 7-9 against the spread. So things evening out a little bit. Before I get fully into my picks, I do want to make sure I point out that you can get $60 worth of free member picks by signing up at the top of the Doc Sports website. That's docsports.com. So make sure to check that out. They have everything you need across every sport, as far as spread coverage, picks, whatever. Anything you're looking for, you can find it on docsports.com. So make sure to check that out. Now, to get into the week four picks, a little bit more of a wide open spread for the spreads this week. The Bills are the pick that jumps off the page, 14-point favorites over the Steelers. I'm going to stay away from that one just because I feel like that's the obvious pick, but definitely a totally reasonable request if that's the one you submit for your survivor pool. Steelers got Kenny Pickett plugging in as starting quarterback. He started last week, went 10 of 13, but also threw 3 interceptions. So there's a little bit of a buzz because there's a new quarterback, but I still don't think they're going to come close to challenging the Bills. So 14-point spread, and I think there's reason to believe the Bills will cover that. So that's definitely a fair pick here. As far as my selections for survivor pool this week, the first one I want to start off with is the Bucks over the Falcons. Bucks are 9-point favorites in this game. Both teams are 2-2. Tampa Bay is 0-2 at home on the year, looking to avoid an 0-3 home start. Looking back at last year, Tampa Bay was 7-1 straight up and 6-2 against the spread when playing at home. Atlanta's coming off a come-from-behind win where they won 23-20 over the Browns, so they have a little bit of momentum. The Bucks are coming off a loss, 41-31 against the Chiefs last week. I don't know. I feel like this is a case where two teams are trending in the opposite direction. Tom Brady, there's a ton of off-field drama. Obviously, the things he's going through in his personal life. But if one thing has been taught to us through these past 2 decades, it's not to count out Tom Brady under any circumstance. So with his back against the wall, I think this is a statement win that both he and the Tampa Bay Bucks need. So I expect them to come and prove it against a Falcons team that has overperformed for the most part this year. Moving on to my second pick, I have the Jaguars over the Texans. Jaguars 7-point favorites in this game. The Jaguars were really building up some momentum going into that Eagles game last week. Terrible performance overall. Tough circumstances. The weather was terrible. Trevor Lawrence struggled to hold on to the football. Fumbled the ball 4 times as well as an interception. Completed just 11 of his 23 pass attempts. With a lesser opponent and better weather, I expect a complete different performance from Lawrence and the rest of the team. The Texans are 0-3-1 on the year, still the only team in the NFL yet to pick up a win. This is a perfect chance for the Jaguars to get back on track. Dameon Pierce is obviously kind of the money man for the Texans, who's established himself. He's coming off his true breakout week. There's been buzz about him coming into the season, but last week he had 14 carries for 131 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, I think this is the Jaguars' perfect chance to get back on track. This is a very good football team. This is the best team the Jaguars have had in several years. Doug Peterson has everything clicking right, and they're going to get back to it. So I think that's a comfortable lock to put in on the Jaguars here. Moving on to number 3, I have the Rams over the Cowboys. Rams 4.5-point favorites. The Cowboys, I think, are coming down to earth a little bit here. Dak Prescott's still going to be out, still coming back from the injury. Cooper Rush, while there's kind of a growing movement of trying to make it a quarterback controversy, Jerry Jones has even acknowledged it. I just don't quite think he's that guy. And I think that's kind of coming into play. Only Carson Wentz has been sacked more than Matthew Stafford this year. So that's kind of going to be where the battle of this game comes out at. The Rams offensive line has been very good. The Cowboys defensive line has been very good. Michael Parsons is a scary man. So that's kind of where this game's going to come down to. I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. The over-under is set at 43, and I honestly think that's still a little high. The Rams are running the ball just 68.5 yards per game, but the Cowboys, the weak point of their defense is that rushing defense. So I think they're going to lean on that a little heavier, maybe get Cam Akers more involved. And the Cowboys just have struggled to move the ball as well, ranking 26th in total offense as far as yardage per game. This is one that I just think is going to be a grind them out game. But the Rams, they looked like they were getting closer to back on track and then had that Monday night loss to the 49ers. This is going to be one where they look to really prove that they are the team, get back to being true contenders. Now, flipping the script and looking at some games I'd like to avoid. Number 1, I have the Eagles versus the Cardinals. So the Eagles are 5.5-point favorites in this game in Arizona. The Eagles have looked absolutely unstoppable to start the season, both just a complete team on both sides of the football. But I still think this is too high of a margin. They have not been as challenged against any team as this Cardinals. This is going to be a difficult task for them. Kyler Murray, a different flavor of a player that they've matched up with all year. They're coming off the victory over the Jaguars, which was their toughest test to date. But in contrast, this Cardinals team could not be more battle tested. I would argue the toughest schedule in the NFL thus far. They're coming in 2-2 with some impressive play. So I think this is one that I could really see going either way. I think 5.5 is high on the spread, and one that I think you're better off just avoiding in this matchup. Next up, I have the Titans and Commanders. I lean toward the Titans getting the win. They're 2.5 point favorites, but this is another that I could see just going either way. These are two teams I think in similar spheres. I think the Titans are a little better overall, but I'm not confident enough to go out and say Carson Wentz just has his moments of brilliance, moments of flashes, and times where he looks terrible. So he's a tough guy to really plan against, and I think you're better off just avoiding this. And lastly, I have the Ravens and the Bengals. Ravens 3 point favorites in this one. The Bengals have really started to build momentum. After starting 0-2, they've won their last 2 games and look like they're starting to click a little bit. The offensive line has been significantly better these past 2 weeks, which is a big deal. And the Ravens, coming off a heartbreaking loss, they're going to be looking to prove something. So this is going to be a fun game to watch. This is a Sunday night game. Definitely a great game of football to be expected, but one that I could see going down either way. These are two teams I expect to be in the playoff mix, so expect this one to go down to the wire and be a complete fight. So best of luck to you guys this weekend. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys think about these, and I'll get back with you next week. Good luck on all of your picks.